My first set of questions revolve around the Williams pipeline.
Okay.
I was very happy to see that the DEC rejected the permit for the Williams pipeline last May. As you know, they have reapplied. And my question is, the DEC rejected the 401 quality permit last year. The fact that the company has reapplied, can you tell us if there's any reason to think the DEC won't once again permanently deny this permit?
Well, I won't get ahead of the final determination, which is due in May. I will tell you, as I mentioned earlier, that with any pipeline application that comes across, given their nature, how disruptive they can be to the natural environment, again, noting that our water quality certificate is really our primary or sole jurisdiction over that review. We take those very seriously, and in this day and age, when you see damage to water quality impacting lives on a regular basis, we have to provide the strictest possible scrutiny of those applications. So twice denied, twice reapplied. We understand our obligations, and the clock is ticking on it.
Understanding that you don't want to get ahead of the application, but to your knowledge, has anything changed about the project?
I have to check with my staff as to whether or not any modifications have been made. The reapplication, I haven't seen the reapplication materials, but that's something that's now with us. And we'll be, obviously, within the time period allotted, making sure the best experts at the agency have given it their hardest look.
Thank you. Switching gears, Senator Metzger had asked about this previously. Looking at the aggressive goals of the CLCPA, do you agree, in just your opinion, that the state should stop permitting fossil fuel projects to meet those goals?
Well, listen, I'm in a unique position, right? I'm the state's regulator when it comes to the environment. I can't supplant my personal opinion for my obligation to process permits. I mean, that's the bottom line. Do I believe that the state has to get off of fossil fuel? Absolutely. I firmly believe that we have an existential crisis on our hands. But I can't say that that we won't process permits.
So if 2040 is the goal that's stated in the CLCPA, what do you think would be a reasonable goal for the DEC to stop accepting permits?
Well, I think this is going to come to the Climate Action Council, and the scope of work that the Climate Action Council develops will guide the state over the next 20, 30 years. That is going to send market signals to developers as to whether or not it makes sense to make those kinds of investments here in New York State.
But don't you think a bright line would send the best market signal?
Well, I think the brightest line would come out of the most thorough process, and that's what the legislature gave us through the Climate Leadership Act.
Well, why don't we flip it? Instead of approving permits, what about the decommissioning of current fossil fuel plants? When do you think there's a year that we need to decommission all of these plants by?
Well, certainly by what the law laid out, 2040.
2040. So all will be decommissioned by 2040.
Decommissioned by 2040.
Thank you so much, Commissioner.
Thank you.